So the driver's just brought this from Shropshire, about 180 miles, which is obviously beyond the range of the car. I tell you, that is a really nice looking car. I've never seen one in the flesh before. I've ordered this through a leasing company because I really wanted an electric car. And it is a real nice looking motor. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, good. That's it. Nice one. You can just hear it. It has an artificial noise at low speeds.
All I can hear is that tractor. I can't hear it at all.
Let's go back. The engine's on. It's on. It's got a funny handbrake on.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You can't hear it. It's not the car, it's the tractor in the field. You can see it can hear the noise now because it actually makes a noise when it's going slow. Well, this is the first time I've seen the engine in an electric car. Never seems to be in reviews or any kind of explanation. It's actually quite small. I mean, there's quite a bit of kit. There's a lot of cooling hoses come out of it, and it's got massive twin fans. They're bigger than on my Jag. They're actually huge. And you've got quite a small standard car battery, fuse boxes. That will be the ABS modulator for the brakes. Radiator fluid, windscreen wiper, more relays and contacts. There's the brake master cylinder, which is actually pretty mega one. That's pretty big. I mean, they're not normally as chunky as that, so they're obviously all part of the brake regeneration system. And then lots of warnings, like, can you see that? High voltage inside, i.e. do not remove these covers and or connectors unless you want to die, which I shall not be doing. One of the pleasures of having a brand new car is hopefully I won't have to do anything to it. One of the things that really annoys me about ordinary car reviews, especially those done by professionals, is that they're forever comparing them to another car that you've never seen and never been in. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, we found out that if you turn the air conditioning on, it scrubs 46 miles off the range. So if you turn it off, there it comes back. So most of the time you don't use the aircon, you can gauge the range. But it's boiling today, so we'll leave it on. And it's really effective as well. It's really cold. So sitting in the passenger seat of the car, we can have a good look at the steering wheel, and you've got all the things that everybody's used to now. Menu controls, the compass buttons, volume up and down, forward and back, rewind, which presumably is for your phone because it's an infotainment centre that you plug your phone or your iPod or anything into. And then over here is all the cruise control buttons. There's a proximity alert, there's voice control, and there's the telephone button. So pretty much what people are used to in high-spec cars. You look down, there's the automatic gearbox. I find this a bit weird, but I've got used to it really quickly. In order to go forwards, you go across and back, and it will light up on the dash that you've gone into drive. In order to go reverse, you go a foot back and forward. Shows you in order to park, you just press the button down in the middle, and that brings it into neutral. And you've got a foot brake in this car, so you push the foot brake down. So you have to actually get used to using only your right leg because it's automatic, and and it's not a good idea to try to do 2-foot manoeuvres in this car. Here you've got the E pedal and the eco pedal. I've driven it about in eco, and effectively there's like a choke. It stops you going fast at low speeds, and then you can feel a step in the pedal, and then it'll pick up. If you turn that off, there's no step in the pedal, and it goes like proverbial off a shovel. It is really fast, this car. I was quite surprised. Faster than my big old Jag. Infotainment centre. A lot of people have complained about the quality of it. I can't see anything wrong with it. It's really comprehensive. There are loads of menus. I've already fitted my dash cam and I've put it over here in the corner. I started off with having it up here at the top where you normally have it, but I realised there's actually no real easy way of getting the cable down without it being in the way. So if I put it in the corner, I can just run it down, put it into the top of the glove box, drop it down and put it into the socket. This car's only got one of these sockets. Other cars like our Kia has got two, but you've also got a USB socket and the auxiliary socket for the sound system if you just want to plug straight into it rather than Bluetooth it. The glove box, it doesn't actually look that big because at the moment it's got this massive manual in it, but it does go back quite a fair way, so I'm going to be able to get a lot in there. Obviously it comes with the adapter for the locking wheel nut, which I'm now going to have to hide that because that's the obvious place to steal it from. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. There's quite a lot of space in there. I'm going to be able to get nearly everything that I need to go in there. They've also put a little drop slot here, which is nice for your phone or your iPod. There's another little drop slot here, which is good. The only thing I noticed though is if you put something in there, it's got a tendency to bang about when you're ear-rolling it around the corners. Couple of drinks things there. There's the key. The key has actually got a metal key inside it. You pull that tag back and you can pop that out, and the only reason you're going to need that, I think, is to turn off the airbag. So if we go back into here, you'll see that just there's a little thing to turn off the airbag, and you use that using the metal part of the key. I'm never going to do that. I'm never having any little screaming children in the back, in the front of this car. The aircon's really easy to operate, and it's your typical layout. Auto. I don't really like auto. I like to have things set so that they don't change themselves automatically, and obviously the readout comes up on the screen above. It is a touch screen as well, although it's got these nice big buttons. I like chunky buttons because they're easy to find. It is a touch screen, so everything is, you know, pretty much like you're used to on any other car or iPod or iPad or anything like that. So it tells you how to start it. The foot brake's on. You just put the brake on, press the power button, and you can hear it all fire up. I do love that animation. That's really cool. Shows everything's working, tells you what things are working, and then it's telling you the range, 159 miles. It's telling the time, which is 8:09 in the evening. It's telling the speed limit of 60 miles an hour. It's actually, of course, and the other thing it does is it automatically connects to your Bluetooth on your phone. And as I have been playing the music, it connects to your phone. Come on, phone. So we've got a bit of Dog Eat Dog, Adam and the Ants, and that's automatically connected to my phone because I spent about 5 minutes connecting the Bluetooth, and it told me how to do it. Now my phone is a steam-driven 10-year-old Samsung, and it did it straight away. Most things it will not pair with, so I'm very impressed with that. And the sound system is pretty cool. You've got loads of setup on it, and it does bash it out, but it's lovely and clear, and it doesn't have to be really loud, because you've got to remember that in this car, when you're driving, it makes almost no noise. It's not fighting with the sound of the engine and the gearbox and everything else. It does have a setup on it where it will actually increase the volume as you go faster, a bit like on some motorbike headsets and some other cars, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Down here is a little bank of switches. You've got the dimmer switch for the instrument panel. You've got the trip reset, so you've got an A and a B trip like most people have, and then if you hold it down for a few seconds it clears all of it. Here you've got the heated steering wheel. Here you've got turning the charge off. Here you've got the door release for the charge port on the front. Here you can turn off the forward warning signal, you know, when you scream up behind something and it beeps at you for doing that. There's the headlamp levelling, so when you've got a lot of weight in the back you obviously scroll it up to number 2. I've never used that ever in any car, but then I don't go across the Sahara, you know, fully loaded. And this is the Pro Pilot Assist. This is probably going to be something that I never use ever, but it's really clever. It's a single lane control function to prevent you getting too close to the cars in front of you. The steering wheel can be moved up and down. You have to reach right in there and pull that lever and then it drops down. And it's either down or it's up. I found that's actually really hard to get that back in. And it was perfect as it came with the car. I've seen a few of the mainstream reviewers saying, oh, it's a shame the steering wheel doesn't move in and out. But I've actually never had a car where the steering wheel moves in and out, even though they were designed to do that 50 or 60 years ago. It's just not something you actually need. Your seat goes forward and back. So the car has blind spot alert. You can see that logo there. That lights up when there's a car just behind you but you can't see it. And it has 4 radar sensors on this car to pick it up. If we look down, we've got what I would call a traditional door handle and quite traditional switches. Kind of strange really. Left and right obviously to alter the angled mirrors. You can move the mirrors in and out, lock the windows, lock the doors, automatic one touch on the driver's side, and the others 4 are the windows, but they don't mark them up as windows, which I thought was really unusual. The car's got heated seats, and you can see high and low for the front seats, and the back seats are also heated, and for some reason they've put the switch in the back of the other seat. There are no switches in the back, there are no real refinements in the back, no cup holders or anything in the back seat, but you've got cup holders in the door and pockets in the door, and the seats are amazingly comfortable. I mean, these are leather and parts, it's an amazing kind of material. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's a lovely material. But they are so comfortable. You just sit into them like an armchair. And my 2 children who sat in the back, who are 15 and 13, they were really impressed because you've got a high point of view as well. You can see out and not just look in the back of the headrests. So sitting in the back of the car, obviously you have got the obligatory head restraints, but you've got a really good view. It's actually really easy to see out. The back of the car has privacy glass, but it's really hard to tell from inside. And it also has these nice little quarter lights. There's one here, and there's quarter lights at the front, which really improves your visibility, especially coming into roundabouts when you're looking for the curbs. I think that's really well thought out. The light's still on because I didn't shut the door properly. The doors have a lovely satisfying chink, so we've got lights there and lights there, just as you would in any other car. The other thing it's got here is a button to turn off the proximity alarm, so you can leave your kids or the dog in the car without it setting the rest of the car alarms off, which is a really good idea because my other cars don't have that. There are 10 tethering points in the back of the car. They're all used to hold these little mesh pockets that have the cables in. I've just got a couple of bungee cords in there. Long bungee cords are good for strapping things down. There's also here this enigmatic pair of loops. I don't know what that's for. There's actually nothing underneath this. This is completely flat and solid, so there's nothing under there. But it's a good size, you can get some suitcases in there. The back seats fold forward on a kind of 70-30 split. They're really easy to operate. You just lift that up and it drops forward, and then there's a little clip for the safety belt to go into, and then you've got all that space and that's quite a big space now, considering this isn't a big car. And they give you 2 cables with the car. On that side, in this rather nice plush bag, is a cable that will go directly into your 3-pin plug in the house. It takes 16 hours to completely charge the car, but that's like a weekend for what, 190 miles worth of travel. On the other side, the other one came out of here, and if you take this little panel out, in there is an electric pump and a repair kit, puncture repair kit, because there's no spare wheels with these cars. The guy who delivered it, who's a really great guy, I really liked him, he said, whatever you do, do not use that puncture repair kit because it will bugger up your tyres. Well, the pump and the tyre compound are set in this little polystyrene dinky little tray, and that's easy enough to get out. You can just pull it out like that, and that's just like a standard thing you get from the garage for about £5, isn't it? The other thing that's in there is the towing eye, and that's a mega bit of kit. Look at that. That says Renault Nissan. I'll have to find out where that connects to. What they don't give you is a wheel wrench, so they obviously do not want you to take the wheels off. So I'll be looking out for a wheel wrench just in case I have to do something at home. I'm going to guess that's where the towing eye goes, but I'm not going to pop that out because I do not want to scratch the paint. Just looking under the back of the car. One of the first things my dad noticed is, oh look, it's really weird seeing a car with no exhaust pipes. And I suppose he's right. And there's a rear towing eye there. That's a bit high up, looks like it would impinge on the plastic if you actually had to use that. This is all the stuff that I took out of my Jaguar that I routinely carry, and quite a lot of it won't be going back in this car because I won't need it. For example, I don't need my sat-nav, I don't need the CDs because there isn't a CD player, I won't need the jump cables because obviously you can't jump this car. I won't need the tyre pump because there's one already in the car. Now I'm going to see if I can get the tow rope in there, and there's the international triangle. This is the cable that allows you to connect it directly to a house, and it takes about 16 hours to charge. I'm not going to keep this in the car. It's the way that I use my car, it's not going to be a useful thing. So you can take it out of its pocket and it gives you that nice big deep pocket, and I can fill that up with all sorts of junk including that tow rope. Just to demonstrate the load space, I've put my fold down ladder in there, which I use from time to time, and my work bag with all my kit in there. I've been able to put the tow rope and my hat in there. Triangle goes there, charging cable can stay there. If you take out this press board rear shelf, it gives you acres of space. One thing I will be doing is going out and buying one of these cheap tarpaulins, a clean one, because I really want to protect the finishes. Very low level rear fog light. I like these little blue accents they've put. They've done it on the inside in the stitching, and it looks really nice. The paintwork, well, it's this kind of pillar box red, and in places it's got that orange peel feel that the old Renaults and things used to have. But it's really hard to detect. I'll tell you one thing you can notice though, is that you can notice the difference between the metal and the plastic, because they are different finishes, they look a different colour. Another thing you need is one of these e-cloths, because I've found that these doors, where the switches are, these just mark like hell. This is from one trip, so I'm going to be forever polishing this up. It's not unique to this car, a lot of cars have these finishes. They're really annoying because they just show the marks up so badly. Nice alloy wheels, and these have got 215/50 R17 91V tyres, and I'm hoping that those are not really expensive, low profile 200 quid a job ones. They're probably 100 quid a job, but hopefully they'll last the 24,000 miles that I'm going to be driving this car. And made by Dunlop, a good, well, sort of English company. So the rear reversing camera is just there. There's also a forward-facing camera in the badge, and the badge is hollow because it's an air dam for the cooling system. Each wing mirror has an indicator light in it, and on the underside it also has a camera. Better make sure not to smash one of these wing mirrors. The amount of kit that's inside that is unbelievable. I think this is a truly impressive function. If you put the car into gear, and here I've put it into forward drive, you can see the parking sensor showing me that there's something on the offside there, and that is actually that butterfly bush over there. If you look on the screen in the middle of the car, you've got the front view, and then you've got a 360-degree view with the parking sensors. So if I now put it into reverse, it scrolls it to reverse. I just think that's genius. You can use the camera button to get different views. So I now can see down the side of my house. Full reverse view. Twin view. I just found out something. I found out that if you don't put it in park, when you turn the engine off, it jolts the car. It does actually automatically put the park on. So that's what the jolting is. Clever. So under this flap, this is where the connection points are. Now you can pop that from inside, but I've got a feeling you can also pop it from here. Perhaps not. Oh, yeah, there we go. I had to hold that down quite a bit. Well, I've done about 20 miles in it, and I just wanted to teach myself how to plug it in, and that's really straightforward. The little flap comes up, you can release it from in the car, or you can use the handset, and then the cable which is supplied with it can only go in that one. This one's got a completely different fitting inside it. There's no way that they can be mixed up. And then the other end goes to my newly installed New Motion charge point, which I've been told today is only operating at 3.6 kilowatts rather than 7.2, because it hasn't been enabled by New Motion, and New Motion are based in Holland. And what I said to them is, I don't need to have this connected to the internet. So there's the actual cable that the guy put in case we wanted to do a retro connection. Found out that it does have to be connected to the internet in order for New Motion to enable it to operate at 7.4. But I just plugged it in because I just really wanted to know, see how it was going to work. There are 3 indicators on the dashboard there, and you can see only one of them is flashing because it's actually nearly full up. I'm charging at something from like 84%. Here under the bonnet in the trim panel, there are these little flaps that just pop up. You can see down onto the top of the shock absorber. Presumably that's for maintenance. Can't really see what else you do it with. And also in the middle, this pops out as well, and you can just look down, but there's nothing in there to see. I can't see a filter or anything that you'd expect there to be. Now I've pretty much gone over this car as much as I can in the sort of few hours that I've had it to play with it. And the only thing I can find that is really lets it down and is a bit gash is this. This is the bonnet catch. But you can see it didn't get painted properly. So it makes you wonder if that's going to be a problem with rust in the future, because it's not actually correctly finished. The same there. I mean, that's actually where you can see it. That's not so good. In fact, that may be a mistake, because on the other side that's fully painted. Yeah, I wonder if they know that's going on. This little box in the middle of the car fascinates me. It's where you'd expect the prop shaft to go on an ordinary car, but of course this one hasn't got one. And it is completely hollow, and that looks as though you should be able to lift it out. There's a little pull bit there, but that is really solid, so I'm not going to do that. That would have been a good idea if they'd have just used that as a storage space, because the car is a bit short on storage and there's actually none in the rear. when you look at the engine bay, you have to sort of think, what isn't there? And there's no exhaust system, there's no air intake system, so there's no filters to go with that. There's no huge water system. The water system seems very modest. I mean, that's the top-up bottle for it. There's no sensors, oxygen sensors, position sensors, all those kinds of sensors. They cost a bomb. I mean, an oxygen sensor on a Jag is 85 quid. And there's two of them, and they go wrong. And they're a real bastard to fit as well. So that's not going to be an issue with this. That power plant probably weighs half of what it weighs in my other car. So you can see why this is the way forward. Fewer components, no emissions, no pollution, very few lubricants, very few liquids.